How does mind-body medicine compare to other modalities like functional medicine? I want to answer that question here with this video. So I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. I am trained in conventional medicine. I was board certified in emergency medicine, but I'm an osteopathic doctor, so I was also trained in mind-body medicine, how the body heals itself and how the mind and the body are connected and constantly in communication, how our thoughts affect all of our physiology. So I have studied functional medicine. I was certified in functional medicine, did the 40-hour training, as well as so many years of workshops and learning. And there's so many great things I love about functional medicine. So functional medicine, for those of you who haven't heard about it before, is a way of addressing and correcting imbalances in the body with things like supplements or nutrition or peptides or other supportive ways or natural ways, or even some pharmaceutical ways with these new peptides coming out and things like that, that can radically support a foundation of health. So unlike the conventional medical model, they're not just putting a band-aid on a symptom and making that symptom numb out. They're actually doing some things to support your physiologic pathways so that your body regains resilience, strength, and health. It is still a fix for compensating for your body's lack of ideal function. Meaning, hey, your adrenals are overrun and stressed, and let's support your adrenals. Or your thyroid is kind of depleted and conking out. Let's support your thyroid. Great, super smart. It isn't necessarily addressing why your adrenals are overrun or why your thyroid is taxed and conking out and not doing its job. So from an energy medicine standpoint, you can think of the throat chakra, where someone is in that mental, emotional state where it's not safe to speak my truth. And your cells are always listening, and it literally will restrict your thyroid function. I have seen people do emotional release or really specific mind-body medicine tools and open up the thyroid, regain perfect and ideal thyroid function, get off medication, and even have thyroid nodules resolve. So we do want to also look at what would support why your thyroid's out of whack to begin with. Or in the case of your adrenals, there are so many people living in fear, lack, separation, and the body's going to be all revved up to try to run on your own fumes to sustain that. Functional medicine can be hugely supportive for your body to keep up with that pace. But we also want to look at what if we release the habits, the behaviors, the beliefs, the emotions that are suppressed, that are keeping you in that overrun state to begin with. As a physician, I've seen that is the wisest approach to truly support health. And it's also really smart to do some supplements or regimes that can be supportive in the meantime. So if you feel inspired to check out functional medicine, there are so many people who are practicing this. It's incredibly practitioner dependent. It's kind of the Wild West in the last 10 or 20 years studying functional medicine, where we're learning so many new things about how the body works, about what the body really needs, about what will support health. And unlike the conventional medical system, where there's a lot of dogmatic things that have been in place for decades and decades and decades and taught in medical school, these are all really new things that are being uncovered right now and being learned, new ways of approaching the body. So a really smart approach, because the doctors studying functional medicine are usually really proactive, getting educated day by day by day with the latest medical research versus 100 years ago medical data that's in the textbooks and being taught in the medical schools that may not necessarily take into account what we now know about the body. So this is a really, it's something to be aware of as far as where does this come from? How does it work? It is still an allopathic approach, meaning you're putting something outside into the body to fix, correct, or compensate for what the body is already doing. So to me, that's great in a short term, or hey, let's fix it in the meantime. And we do want to address the underlying, what would your body need to be in optimal function? So these can be used in complement. These can be used together. Sometimes functional medicine can be very, very expensive for people who are in dire straits, completely falling apart. Like, it can be totally worth it for the short term to do some supportive measures from functional medicine and have a person evaluate you. They'll look at your lab work in a very different way than a conventional doctor looks like, where I studied as an ER doctor, right? It's like, is this person about to die? Are they actively dying? Or maybe they just have some like imbalanced physiology, and then there weren't a lot of answers for you. Functional medicine has a lot of answers for you. So they will look at things in a very different way, a deeper way, a more specific way, because they have an understanding of what they can do to correct those imbalances and bring your body some support for what you are compensating with and what you are dealing with. So this can really enhance what you're doing with MindBody medicine or any level of your life. But it is important to remember, what is the underlying template physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and epigenetically, right? Your DNA, that is keeping that dysfunction in place, because now anything we're doing to compensate for that or support that might still just be a temporary or limited measure. For me, I have seen the power of what MindBody medicine can do to correct underlying imbalances from the inside out. So that remains a foundational part of my medical practice. And I've seen the massive turnarounds people can have to get off their functional medicine supplements, off their functional medicine regimes, when they do the inner work to allow ideal physiologic, energetic, emotional alignment. So this remains an adjunctive thing for me. Great, let's support your vitamin D levels. Let's make sure you have enough minerals going in. There may be some really basic things from functional medicine that you can do to support your health as you are addressing the underlying blueprint or template that your cells are living from every day. I'm at drkimd.com. You can tune in for more in what will support you in living your highest health. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.